Let's move on to the Indianapolis Colts. Their needs look like this. They need an edge. They definitely need a wide receiver. They need a tackle. They've got picks 42, 73, and so on and so forth. They gave up a lot of picks for Carson Wentz. They tried to get some back in trading him off to the Washington Commanders. Let's start off with who we got here. Let's start off with you, AJ. I'm very excited to hear your conversation about this certain player. Who do the Indianapolis Colts need to go after?
Listen, I'm going to just be transparent. We did the top 10 wide receivers on Friday, and I came into that episode telling y'all how much fun I had scouting these wide receivers. There were some players on that list I didn't get to put on. 10 was harder than we thought. This is a deeper wide receiver class than we originally gave credit for. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into one of those picks that just didn't make the cut, but has been skying up the draft boards. Mr. Sky Moore from Western Michigan. I think this would be a beautiful, beautiful pick for the Colts. They've already got size as a pass catcher with Michael Pittman and gargantuan. Bernard's on, he's normally leaving somebody behind. He's small for the position, but he succeeds at what he needs to do because he embraces the fact that he's small. So he doesn't mind fighting through contact. He doesn't mind being a little physical. And we talked about production on this. So his first year, he was all MAC first team. His true freshman year, he was a team tying 51 receptions for 802 yards. Fast forward to his senior year, where he had 95 receptions, 1,292 yards, and 10 touchdowns. All team first MAC again. I think this guy is going to be solid. I think he fits a role for Matt Ryan, who needs that kind of gadget guy anyways, that kind of go over quickly against the middle or burn deep like the Russell Gages and the Taylor Gabriels of the world. I think that this pick fits in really well for the Colts, and it would give Matt Ryan another weapon. And where you're getting him in round 2, I mean, maybe your first pick off the board, but we've been saying long ago that they need to get some more weapons. Why not start here with Sky Moore?
You and Sky Moore. You know what? I was gonna go next, but I had to come back to this. I was gonna just roll into it, but there's no way I can roll into it with Sky Moore, the WNBA
Is this
star.
the NFL draft or the WNBA draft? I wasn't sure.
Listen, all fantastic athletes.
Listen,
athletes.
No disrespect to Sky Moore, but he's just too small. He's just too little. I don't like him at the Colts, number one, because I think he's going to do what they want Paris Campbell to do, which is be this stretch the field guy. He looks like a little running back playing the position. I think you can just play Nyheim Hines the way you would play Sky Moore in that offense. I really don't love what I see from him at the NFL level. I think it's going to be too physical for him. And I think the fact of the matter is he's going to struggle with injuries. And I don't think the Colts want to take another risk on a high draft pick on a guy that could struggle with injuries. And I know that's not an excuse not to draft a small guy, but when teams have been burned by a certain type of player in the past, I see they tend to shy away from it. Again, he might turn out to be a nice little slot player, but I think he's limited to that slot role because of his size. I don't see him winning on the outside enough. I think he needs to go to a team where that can develop him, that can come in and play with a quarterback that is elite and be that similar style to Randall Cobb. Not quite as physical as Randall Cobb was coming out of college, but yeah, something like that.
I think I might have,
or he just goes plays in the WNBA.
I'll just say 3 names real quick: Wes Welker, Danny Woodhead, Julian Edelman. All small and quite successful players.
Yeah, all played with Tom Brady.
I mean, by the time Woodhead played with Brady, he had already made a name for himself. Don't give me that. And Wes Welker did it in Denver too.
Hey, Danny Woodhead. I remember watching. I love the Chargers and the Jets. I love watching Danny Woodhead with the Jets, but he ain't. He was. I think I might have your guy. Aaron, you said something here. You were like, they've been burned too many times with drafting these types of receivers. I think I might have your guy because the last time the Indianapolis Colts drafted a wide receiver out of the Sun Belt Conference, it was a guy by the name of T.Y. Hilton. And with their pick in round 2, I have them going with another Sun Belt wide receiver in my guy, Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama. This guy, he's got some talent, man. We talked about how we had our episode on Friday ranking the top 10 wide receivers. This is the guy that's slotted in right at number 10 for me. you talk about South Alabama. You're like, oh, who does he play? He doesn't play anybody. South Alabama played an SEC team, the Tennessee Volunteers, in their bowl game last year. Jalen Tolbert was 7 for 143 and a big time touchdown against Tennessee. This dude is consistent. He had back-to-back 1K seasons. He is a big play machine. And what's funny about him is it's not about speed. He's not a big time burner. And I found that really interesting to see all the scouting reports talking about how he's a big play machine, but he's not doing it with his Jets. So it's very interesting to me. And you talk about a guy who is a former 2-star recruit. He's been battling adversity. There's one thing that I love about Jalen Tolbert here is this play right here against Tennessee in this game. It's a bad drop, a really bad drop. And you're probably wondering, why the hell are you showing me a drop and telling me that they need to pick this clown that's dropping balls? Well, the next pass that went Jalen Tolbert's way was this right here against a SEC team here playing bump and run coverage, even a pass interference call. All jersey was grabbed on this, a one-handed catch. This guy is just spits in the face of adversity and keeps on rolling. The Indianapolis Colts need to go after Jalen Tolbert in the second round.
Didn't they just have Zach Pascal?
Vinny's so proud of himself right now.
Damn right. Damn Skippy.
Vinny is super proud of himself. I'm not going to come and bash you because I actually think he's a really good prospect, and he's put up really good numbers. He's very athletic. You talked about that, and he does have the good size. And he's not slow. Like you mentioned, he doesn't have that burst he doesn't have that stretch the field over the top speed, but he has good speed and he can jump and win 50-50 balls. Can still work on some route running. And obviously the drops are an issue because he does lack the concentration, but I do think that can be fixed. But I do think he can develop into a starting caliber wide receiver. The real question comes in is when do you then want to start drafting him? Do you think that the second round is too early? I do. I think that because they're what, 12 in the second round or even maybe like pick 10 in the second round. I think that's a bit early for him to go off the board. I'm looking more around the third round for him or even the late second. But again, if you think that you're looking for a good wide receiver prospect and you don't feel like there's anybody that's going to fall to you in the third round and that's the next guy up, then you might have to reach there. Or if you're in Indianapolis, which is very possible, they might trade back into the first round to get one of the top 5 receivers. But again, if you're sitting in this spot, I think this is a decent pick, but I don't know if I'd take him this early.
You think you think he could fall to pick what are they? So they're at 73. So you think that's too far?
That's going to be the tough spot, right? It's because they don't have a pick for a while. Is it possible? Yeah. You never know with guys out of small schools. People do get shy away from them at times, but I think he has the size and speed to be drafted. But you're still looking at guys like Mechie ahead of him, possibly Calvin Austin, maybe David Bell. But again, you don't know, right? You never know where these teams have him. I think if you really like him there, you might have to reach for him. But if you're going to reach there for a guy like that, I'm of the mindset, just trade up and get somebody in the first round if you're the Colts. And then you have that 5th-year option for him. You have a bunch of cap space anyways. You don't have a lot of holes on your team after adding Stephon Gilmore. The other hole I'm going to talk about here in a minute. So
I think after like Treylon Burks, it kind of becomes a shuffle with these guys, Mechie, Bell, Austin, picking one of them. It just kind of looks on what you're hoping to get or what you need to fill. And I know that's the point of the draft, but when it comes to the receiver, are you looking for the big physical downfield guy? You're looking for the guy who's quick out of the burst and can get you all the slants to grab that quick first down. At that point in time, that's where you really decide. Because these guys, to me, they kind of can rotate. If I'm happy if I get a Mechie, I'm happy if I get a Tolbert. Calvin Austin, I feel like, is a very specific player, and you have to be looking for that type of basically gadget jet sweep wannabe type of guy when it comes to Calvin Austin. I feel like he might be another trap out of Memphis, but I haven't looked at him enough to really go all in on that thought process.
Hey, y'all know how I feel about John Mechie. Okay, so I wasn't gonna.
I do agree with AJ in the fact that they do have Michael Pittman, who's already that bigger framed, not blazing speed receiver, that they probably do want to add a little bit more speed on the outside of somebody that can stay consistent. I don't know if, a guy like Jalen Tolbert fits that style, but being fast on offense matters, especially in an indoor team like the Indianapolis Colts with Jonathan Taylor and a run first team, they might want somebody that can blow the top off and actually stay on the field while doing it. So that might be a different type of player. Maybe they do take the chance on a Sky Moore there again. I think they're going elsewhere again. I think they'll wait on the wide receiver. Just a hunch. And my guy, I know I'm boring. I like offensive linemen, but I think it's important. You're talking about a team that just went and traded for a quarterback who's as old as, I don't know, my grandfather. He's got his AARP card. He can't move very well. And so I think they have to get somebody that actually, fits with what they're trying to do. And that's a tackle for me. And it's Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith, a tackle from Tulsa. Again, this is just about run blocking and pass blocking. Block for Jonathan Taylor, protect Matt Ryan. I think that's the way the Indianapolis Colts want to play football, and I think it's important that they go fill the void of losing the offensive lineman that they lost. They lost Mark Lewinsky. They've lost a couple of other guys, and they need to rebuild what was once the best offensive line in football, right? So if they can't do that, then Matt Ryan's going to have a hard time staying upright and getting the ball to those outside weapons. I think here getting a Tyler Smith who's physical, whose ability to play multiple positions, again, somebody that's versatile, will fit into that offense. And you're not asking him to be the best offensive lineman on your team, right? Because you already got a guy in Quentin Nelson to do that. This is a guy that can come in, learn from those veterans, and fill a need there in Indianapolis. And I think with the additions they made on defense, get some offensive line help, find some other ways to address skill position, and I think Indianapolis will be right where they want to be.
I like Tyler Smith. I mentioned him earlier on in one of our episodes. He's just solid in my opinion. Like when I watch him and when I read about him and everything, it's just solid. It's consistent. It's solid. And that you're right. The protection for Matty frozen ice in the ground. You got to protect him, and then you also have to get those holes open for Jonathan Taylor. So I like that pick. I do. And I'm growing fonder and fonder of Tyler Smith. So wouldn't be upset if he goes higher.